Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? Council have anything? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the March 4th, 2026 regular meeting. You received them in your packet. Is there any changes or clarification needed to those minutes? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 4th meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Brad, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Last minute discussion. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Okay. State your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Kevin Thomas, 1021 Pleasant Street. In comments with your agenda item 7B, I was unable to attend the planning and zoning meeting on Wednesday, so I thought I'd come here to talk to you about what my situation is. If you want to talk about it now, or if you want, when you get to 7B, I guess it's up to you guys what you want to do.
Okay.
So,
Was anything at the planning commission that, since you couldn't attend it, was there something that you wanted to?
yeah, so what it is, I applied for a variance for a 40 by 60 building, which I said was too big, which is fine. So now I'd like to go down to a 40 by 48 building, which is 30 feet bigger than the variance they've already approved in 2025. But I was not able to attend, so I didn't, obviously have a chance to talk to it before this. So
Okay.
I'm looking for either you guys, on your council, to say it's okay to build that, or at least send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission so I can go talk to them next month, instead of waiting 6 months to get a variance, so.
Okay. When we get to that point, we'll see what the council needs, and
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak to the council? Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, our public open forum is closed. We have no public hearings. We'll move on to reports and presentations. Police monthly report. Joe?
Good evening, everyone. I got the February 2026 police activity report. Some of the highlighted ones that I highlighted here. A lot of investigations in February. When you look at, we had 5 different assaults. We're probably going to charge 4 of those 5 out as felony. The one thing that people don't think about when we see the assaults and some of those, 2 of them being sexual in nature, we do a lot of search warrants and stuff like that too, so they're pretty time consuming. So like the one of our assault case we worked on, we did 4 different search warrants. So some of these investigations take 3, 4, 5 days to wrap up. So just a little bit higher number of those investigations, along with another court order investigation we had, a Danko violation, death investigation. So yeah, a lot of kind of time consuming ones in February. If you look at lift assists at 9 and medical emergencies at 23, so it puts it over that 30 mark for people calling 911 at different times of the day and us showing up, helping them out there. Patrols, 191, traffic stops, 311, 12 other welfare checks, a few special details with stuff up at the school. What I've kind of correlated with February was the weather was kind of up and down, so you could, those warm days we had in February, we were busy, and then some of those cold ones, we slowed down a little bit as far as calls for service. Another news, both those leased squad cars, I got those back to Arden Hills on time, so we're good there, so they're returned. Both of the new squad cars are now completed and on the road, so we're all we're squared away there. Kind of looking forward now with the weather. We're gonna try to push out some education on the golf cart, UAV stuff in town again, try to just remind people to keep them off Main Street. As, you know, they can cross the bridge, but they gotta make that first right or left once they come off the bridge, and, some of the other rules, and make sure they go talk to Wendy upstairs about getting those licensed here with it getting warmer, we'll start seeing them come out. So, nothing we're gonna write people tickets for, just education to let people know that this can't be on the state highways or on the main street.
Sinclair Lewis included on that?
You can ride them on Sinclair Lewis, UTVs and, golf carts on Sinclair, it's a county. It's the state highways that you can't have them on, or the US trunk highway. So 71's the US trunk highway, you can't have them on. You can't have the UTVs or per our ordinance, the golf carts on there. But like Highway 28, they can't. So people can drive them over the bridge, like 71 bridge, to get to the truck stop. It's just, you just gotta take that first turn to get to a side street.
Right.
We're cool with it. Like, we get it. It's that every once in a while, people just thinking they're gonna go from Dairy Queen to the north end of the golf course down Main Street. We just can't have that, that's all.
Right.
So that's just gonna be education. We're gonna pump some of that out on social media and try to get to the paper too. It's just a good reminder.
Okay,
Any questions on February or?
questions or concerns? Okay, thank you. Public Works Monthly Report, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The arena, the hockey season wrapped up on March 1st. The ice, boards, and glass were all removed to prep for dry floor events, the first one being this weekend. The ice resurfacers were both serviced and put into storage for the off-season. We did have several warm days that melted the roads, and we were able to do an initial pass of pothole patching on the worst locations that were in need. As the weather clears, the roads again will continue to keep on patching those holes. There's plenty that sprung up again recently. Airport hangar door maintenance, we did some out there on those. There was a couple minor repairs that took place. Several snowstorms that required plowing and cleanup afterwards. We did some general equipment repairs, mostly to plow trucks, replacing wear items such as our cutting edges. Building and garage door maintenance at our Public Works building. We replaced a broken water heater at the campground park shed. The stormwater pond near the industrial park, we have not had any sediment removal since it was installed in the 70s. So we completed numerous test holes to obtain the depth of the sediments and the depth of the original soil in the pond. So we're gonna work on creating drawings with those elevations to show our original heights and potentially plan for a project to clean the sediment from that pond. The removal would be a late fall or winter project. Year is undetermined, but at least we can put together a plan for what that might look like. The no parking sign to be placed north of the hospital arrived, and we'll get that installed as soon as the frost is out. Looks like next week we should be able to start popping some of the signs in that we need to do. We did put that portable speed sign up on 10th Street, allowed it to start collecting some data. The first few days that it was up, we pulled the info from it, and 99% of the cars going by were traveling under 30 miles per hour. The few cars that were going faster were about 35 miles per hour, and they averaged about 150 cars per day. So that's just after a few days. Once we have a larger set of data, we will share that with everyone here so that you can get a good look at what's going on up there, but that's what the first few days looked like anyways. The gravel roads and alleyways, they've been a bit of a mess with this melting, freezing, thawing. We've done what we can with them, but as it warms up again, we'll be after those as soon as we can. We just need to dry up a bit, so too much water on them. But any questions I can answer?
Questions, concerns? Okay, I guess not.
All right.
Thank you. Planning Commission report. Sarah?
Good evening. At the Planning Commission last week, we had two public hearings regarding garage sizes for variances. So that's two action items later on your agenda. You do have a copy of the building permits of January of this year. I had 4 permits with a valuation of $42,000. February, I had 4 permits with a valuation of $216,000. Short list of building permits is on page 14, and then on page 15 is just the 3 months worth of the zoning permits, which was 2, but now that the weather's going to get nice, it changes and it'll start picking up. Any questions for me?
Questions, concerns? Okay, thank you, Sarah. We'll move on to Park Board report.
Okay, the park board met in regular session actually today at 5 o'clock. So just before this meeting, they had a few items on their agenda. They are recommending we take the next steps in the archery range, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. They are moving forward with getting some estimates for transportable security cameras that can be used to use them at the, for vandalism, use them in the parks, put them at the compost site or and wherever else we might need them. So we're just kind of working up to try to get an estimate on what that might look like. They did talk about the community garden, because we have had some complaints about the upkeep of it, and they agreed to extend that for another year with some conditions that we'll monitor it and see how it goes this year. And they did recommend a change to the seasonal camping rate for 2027. The reason we get them early is because the campers are going to start arriving here in about a month or so, and we have to start giving them those rates because they plan ahead. And then we also have, they got an update on the park shed, that we have it in the budget to re-tin that and perhaps garage doors, and we're just getting estimates on that, and they'll take that back to the park board or back to the city council when we get those numbers. So that's what they have.
Questions, comments? Okay, Airport Board?
So the airport board met Wednesday, March 11th at 1 p.m. They had a couple things on their agenda as well. They reviewed the progress of the box hangar project. There's a couple things that they're looking at yet, maybe some different kind of insulation for the doors and the straps of the doors. We're trying to make a little bit of changes than what we had originally thought we were going to go in there. They did discuss the repairs to the hangar doors that Ben had addressed earlier. They set the fuel price per gallon. They also discussed the fly-in planning, that we're going to have the fly-in there this summer, the Sunday of Sinclair Lewis Days, sponsored by the Mid-Minnesota Motorheads, I believe it is. But we'll be having a pancake or a breakfast, and then they'll have airplane rides that you can rent to take a plane up, and they'll take you up around town. And then we looked at the hangar rentals, and then also they've submitted the grant and the admin settlement request to the FAA for that land acquisition process. So that's in the hands of the FAA now. I did get a request for more information today, so I'll take a look at that. But that is in the process. We can't actually submit the grant application till May. That we asked them to preview it earlier because we figured we'd need to provide extra documentation. So that's what we have for the airport.
Questions, concerns? Okay, Operations Committee report.
So the Operations Committee met on Thursday, March 12th. The following in attendance was Councilman Scott Kowski and Brad Kirkhoff, Public Works Supervisor Ben Klink, the Water Wastewater Supervisor Glenn Bauer, the City Engineer Keith Yap, and myself. And the committee reviewed each street segment for the Phase 1 of the Trunk Highway 71 project, which is the side street segments, along with estimated costs for each segment. Each was evaluated for its importance to be included due to its connection to the corridor, like if there's unique items with the sewer or water or storm, that it helps to be done ahead of time. The road curb and storm condition, and the sanitary and water condition. So the committee did opt to remove 10th Street South and 1st Street South from the project for the 2027 Phase 1 of that project. A recommendation will be made in action item 7G to update that feasibility report.
Okay, questions, or we can handle that when we get to that? Okay. We will now move on to our action items. 7A, approve resolution 2026-15 approving variance action.
So the Planning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment, conducted a public hearing on Wednesday, March 11th to consider an application for variance submitted by Tyler D. and Brittany J. Weniger Thornblum. The property is located at 355 East River Circle, is zoned R1 residential. The request is to allow an attached garage, addition to an attached garage greater than allowed by ordinance. The request is to allow a 780 square foot addition to an existing 648, which results in a total of 1,368 square feet of attached, where 1,200 feet is allowed. After deliberation, the Planning Commission recommends the request be granted with the condition that all existing detached storage building, the existing detached storage building be removed, that all roof water drainage be directed to the rear of the lot, and that no part of the garage may be used for human habitation. And I do have that laid out in the resolution approving the request for the variance in your packet. And that is Resolution 2026-15, granting the variance to Tyler D. and Brittany J. Weniger Thornblum as requested with stated conditions.
Questions, concerns? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve or do what we want with Resolution 2026-15? Motion by Scott to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second. No, go ahead.
Second by Brad. Last minute discussion. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve Resolution 2026-16, approving variance action.
So the Planning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment again, conducted a second public hearing on Wednesday, March 11th to consider an application for a variance submitted by Kevin Thomas. The property is located at 1021 Pleasant Street and is zoned R1 residential. The request is to allow the construction of a 40 by 60 or 2,400 square foot detached accessory building where 1,200 feet is allowed, and there be 3,000 square foot cumulative where 1,800 is allowed when combined with the existing garage, and that detached smaller shed would be removed. After deliberation, the Planning Commission recommended that the variance request be denied. The reason for the denial due to the excessiveness of the request in comparison to other variances granted in the past. In the past 5 years, 11 variances were granted to exceed the accessory structure maximum. The average square foot over the maximum of 1,200 square feet for attached structures was 459 feet. The median was 384, meaning half were bigger, half were less, or half were more and half were less. The average square foot over the cumulative max of 1,800 square feet was 666, with the median at 250, meaning half were more and half were less. This request was for 1,200 over the maximum allowed cumulative. I will say that 2 of the variances aforementioned in there exceeded his request, but they were granted due to the nature of the property on the edge of the city limits and that the parcels were quite a bit larger. Now, this is the request where so the resolution in front of you is what the Planning Commission had recommended denying the request for the variance, but he is in attendance and he had asked that you either reconsider it, offer a smaller garage that he had proposed, or remand it to the Planning Commission as an alternative to denial. So, and you have the option to allow him to speak or speak amongst yourselves.
Okay. One thing, he's already said he was looking at a 40 by 48. My personal opinion is since he adjusted it, that we send it back to the Planning Commission, have them do the job they were assigned to do, now that they've got all the information. Or if they need more, then he can attend that meeting, rather than us second guess what they're doing. But
Yeah, that was kind of my thought as we go back to the planning commission to review and stuff. But just one question, whether Vicky can answer, Kevin. You had said you did receive a variance in 2025?
No, not him.
Oh,
No.
there was a different one that you were referencing then?
Yes, so there was a variance in 2025 that was, their variance was 30 feet smaller, total square footage was
Okay,
40 by 48. So
okay, sorry, I misunderstood that, so thanks for clarifying.
May I ask a question if I can, Kevin? Kevin, the variance was granted for the smaller size that you're currently proposing versus the 40 by 60.
no, there was no variance granted as of yet for any building I have on that property.
The prior one to 2025.
No, that was a different property.
Okay.
He's saying that a variance was granted in 2025, very similar to what his new proposal is.
Okay, that's what I was trying to
That's
ask.
what you're asking.
Yes. Yeah, no, okay, thank you.
And also, Vicky, you said, according to the map, the building layout would be,
The building is, the rectangle should be turned.
it should be turned, it shouldn't
90
be
degrees.
on the way it's faced.
Okay.
Yep. So that would change things too. That's part of the reason why I'm thinking the planning commission could
It probably should go
reconsider.
back.
And that way, they're on board with that. So.
I think the planning commission, we did spend quite a bit of time talking about it, but more than, our role is to review each one, and if it's a change, I think you could go back and
Right.
re-review it again, and another recommendation of some sort to
Yeah.
come back.
Because basically the original application was for a different
Exactly.
size and
Yep.
everything there, so.
I agree.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to send this request back to the planning commission to review his revised request.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brad will second it. Last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approve resolution 2026-17, approving final plat of Authors Phase 2.
So the final plat for Author's second edition has been sent to Stearns County. They review it with their departments down there. The plat includes 20 lots, and they're under the existing restrictive covenants as the original Authors, because those covenants were for the entire property. Once Stearns County makes their approvals, any changes they would have would be included in this, and then the final documents will be prepared which come in for signature. So what we're looking tonight is just to approve Resolution 2026-17, approving the final plat of Author's second edition. And it does say in there that it shall be reviewed by the Stearns County Director of Land Management, and that any changes or recommendations of the director may be incorporated in conditions for final approval. So sometimes they don't like the way a word is spelled, or usually really, really minor, insignificant items. We just want to make sure that we have the ability to make those changes on that final plat.
Okay, questions, concerns?
So it's 20 more lots that are going in on that one?
Pardon me?
20 more?
20, yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
So that means in the city, we're gonna have infrastructure costs, we're gonna have,
So the infrastructure costs is, we'll get the final numbers kind of, and that'll go back to the EDA, and they'll make the determination whether we're ready to put the infrastructure in at this point. I think that when they first got the estimate, it was higher than they thought it might be, but I think now that we've looked at it a little closer and we'll look at ways that it can be funded, the EDA will make that recommendation back.
so we're just approving the plat, not
This is the
actually
plat,
building
just the
any.
creating of the lots.
No work being done, just the plat, just the plat. Good, all right.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2026-17.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Scott will second it. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. 7D, approve resolution 2026-18, accepting quote for crack filling.
So the next three action items have to do with the road projects that we have recommended for 2027. So at the February 4th council meeting, they authorized the quotes be obtained for the crack filling. Packets requesting quotes were sent to contractors known to perform this type of work. It was also advertised and posted on the city website. 8 bids were opened on March 13th with the following results. You see they went from $34,780 all the way up to $96,650. So the low bidder is MP Asphalt Maintenance at $34,780. That is our recommendation by Resolution 2026-18, accepting that quote. And they all bid the exact same quantity. It's just that it's the price per pound that they bid, and they had quite a bit less price per pound on their material.
Okay. Any questions about that? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2026-18.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Heidi will second it. Any last minute discussion? We've never worked with these people before, have we?
No.
Okay. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none
I
against.
do want to mention though too, that when you do the crack fill, we estimate the quantity. When they're actually out there filling, they have to provide us tickets for how much they actually use, because they get paid for what they use. That way we can keep track of them and don't all of a sudden get a big surprise in the end.
Right.
So, because it's not a fixed amount we're bidding on the price per pound.
And they still provided the lowest price per pound.
They have the lowest price per pound.
Okay. 7E, approve resolution 2026-19, accepting quote for seal coating.
So likewise, at the February 4th meeting, we authorized quotes be obtained for the seal coating. Packets requested were sent to the contractors along with advertisement and website posting. We did receive 2 bids on March 13th. Aztec for $40,751.81 and Allied Blacktop for $56,948.10. So the low bid is Aztec, and we are requesting to approve resolution 2026-19, accepting the quote for seal coating.
Questions?
I'm assuming these are all within our budget, these numbers?
Yes, actually, this total came in under budget.
Okay, thank you.
What was our budget number for all this that we put in the budget?
175.
175?
I think this totals like 166 or 169.
All three total.
All
Yeah,
three total.
165-ish.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-19?
So moved.
Motion by Brad, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against.
So-
7,
so, I just wanted to
Go
mention
ahead.
something to you, is that for Brad, like, when we're doing these projects, the seal coating and the slurry seal probably come in right there because of the quantity. But the crack fill, with knowing what our budget is, we have the ability to stop them so we don't go over budget, or we have the ability to add more. Like if there's a street that's really bad that we want to add but didn't conclude it, we can add it up to a certain percent.
Right.
So, we very well could put in there to get up to the 175, but we wouldn't go over it.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Approve resolution 2026-20, accepting quote for slurry seal.
We did receive 1 bid as well for the slurry seal. As you recall, we did advertise the slurry seal Ash Street from, I believe, the stoplight up to Sinclair Lewis Avenue. And that's not quite the same as seal coat, but similar. It'll fill in the gaps, and the goal is to fill in the ruts. And so we did get 1 bidder, Aztec as well, for $90,701.29. So we're looking to approve that resolution, accepting the quote for that slurry seal.
Questions?
So with getting only 1 bid here, is it kind of where we expected that number to be for this, or
I think I have to ask
is
Ben
there
that
just few
question.
people that?
I expected it to be 95,
Okay,
and we knew that there's very limited contractors that even do this type of work.
okay,
It's pretty specialized, so Aztec is one of the big ones that does it a lot.
okay.
Any other questions?
And that's doing the entire length of that street itself,
Yep.
correct?
From Walmart, all the way to
Sinclair. Yeah, it's probably getting ahead of us, but are we having the county stripe it again? Like it was the last time we did that? Okay.
Does this provide a benefit over typical seal? Like, what is the,
The trouble with Ash Street is we have really bad wheel running because we have we do have semis and we do have dump trucks that travel that way frequently. So some of those ruts are almost an inch deep if you hold a level across them. So if we just seal coat that, it allows the water to actually sit in that rut yet. Where if we slurry seal, it totally fills in that rut and it will shed all of that water as it goes up the roadway. So seal coating would have been about half of this, but slurry seal actually fixes our wheel rut problem. So that's why we went with the slurry seal.
and that, what is the typical lifespan of a slurry seal?
About 10 years, so it's a little better than seal coat.
And with the water growing off, it'll actually extend the life of the road.
Right, and it'll look just like a seal coated road when it's all done. But it gets done in multiple applications where seal coating is just, they spray oil with a rock,
Yep.
and spray with oil again, where this will take multiple passes to fill in ruts and then seal coat the road, seal coat the rocks and it's all done.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions, concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-20?
I'll make the motion. Sorry.
Heidi made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Scott will second. Any last-minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7G, approved scope of Trunk Highway 71 Side Street Project and request final feasibility study.
Right, so the Highway 71 project, as I said in the operations report, has been split into 2 sub-projects. Phase 1 is the city side street connections, the storm ponds and the bypass road. Phase 2 is the portion of the project within the Trunk Highway 71 corridor. And I think we talked about earlier, MnDOT has requested that we do ours first and that they do theirs second. Phase 1 is proposed to be completed in 27 then, which would be ahead of the corridor in 28. With the operations committee meeting, the 2 streets that were removed, as I said, was 10th and 1st. So now phase 1 now includes 9.5 Street, Cass Street, 8th Street South from Main to Getty, and 8th Street South from Ash to the east end, plus that storm that goes to the river by the school. Do 7th Street South, which is Main to Getty, 6th Street South, which is Main to Getty, and the alley between those two, because storm and some sanitary runs down that alley. 5th Street South, Main to Pine, that's the piece we left out of the Birch Pine project on the east side of the highway. 2nd Street South from Oak, which we had taken out in our 22 project, goes Oak all the way to the east end where there will be a storm pond. Lake Street, there's about 100 feet at the end of that from the exit of the car wash to Main Street, Linden Lane, and the bypass road. So the city engineer was previously tasked with completing the feasibility report for the project. So what I brought this here to do a final definition of what the project is, what entails, and then request that he bring back the feasibility study for that portion. So that's where we are tonight. I don't have the dates put in here on when we're gonna receive the report, because then that'll dictate when we have the hearings, the public hearings and everything. So he said maybe at the next meeting or the meeting after that he would have it ready. And then that'll kind of define where the rest of them go into place.
Okay. And this is just strictly getting feasibility studies. This isn't saying we're actually going to be doing it.
Right, first we do the feasibility study.
Right.
And then you call a public hearing, then you have the public hearing and order the improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have some steps to take yet. But we do need to get them in the design phase as early as we can, because they're also designing the sanitary and the water in the corridor.
Right. And you had mentioned when you and I had talked, Linden Lane was going to get narrowed?
That was the discussion that we had, was to narrow it up, get it a little bit further away from Gas Mart at the top of, or Brothers, I guess it is, at the top of the retaining wall, and then to be able to do something with the stormwater that's coming down that hill.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, concerns?
I have a question, just if it's possible to, I think the 2nd Street South, Oak to East, that includes the corner by Frederick's Tire and Oil, correct?
Yep.
I know when Sean was here, he expressed concerns for the design on that corner specifically with Highway 71. Is there alternatives that will be included in this feasibility study?
So the design, we did that back when we did the 2022 project, and I believe Sean did talk to Keith at the meeting, and the street's basically gonna be the same size as it is today.
Okay.
His concern was that we were gonna put a sidewalk on the north side. That was really his concern, about having a sidewalk on the north side of the road.
When I had talked to him at the Highway 71 meeting last week, his concern was the bump outs on that corner and the loss of control of being able to have semis enter and turn that corner.
On the bump out part, the bump out thing, we did talk to MnDOT about that earlier on. And you couldn't really see on the pictures that you see on the wall, but those are drive over
Okay.
for them to be able to get their trucks in.
We were just looking at the map out there.
Yeah,
and
that
I heard
doesn't
his
show it very
concerns. Okay.
But they had a couple places there, they had to do that. The 5th Street where the auto parts store is, they have that drive out. And so there's a couple places in town where they're making those adjustments.
Basically, the whole south side of that street is drive over curb, which is going to help them. Plus, the road is going to remain wider than a normal street, which is going to help them. So just to have a sidewalk on the north side, to me, is moot.
The other thing I think he mentioned too was retaining his drivable access into the parking, into his gas station.
Yeah, that won't,
It looked different, so he was concerned about that.
so. Okay, any other discussion? Otherwise, I will look for a motion to approve the modification of the Phase 1 project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, seconded by
I'll second.
Heidi. Last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7H, approve installation of archery range.
So the park board has been working on creating an archery range in the city, and I did provide a drawing for you to review, so you can kind of see the location and the layout. It'd be outdoors, open to the public. It's east of the Public Works shop. It'd be accessible from the bypass road once it's constructed. Otherwise, it would be through like where you go to dump brush. The range would have, at this point, I wasn't sure, but it perhaps have some tables, some benches. It'll have targets at various distances. No broadheads would be allowed. The Stearns County Park Range is the picture that is in your packet. What we're looking at is to do the one like they have in New Munich, that is the Stearns County Park. We do have some donations that have been offered up to help cover the costs. And so Ben is working on just getting some final numbers on what the grading costs would be, what the targets will cost, that type of thing. And then, of course, the park board is interested in what the long-term maintenance would be, which would basically be mowing the grass and occasionally changing out a target. So that's kind of what they're looking. They just kind of wanted your blessing to keep moving forward on this project, and they will come back with final numbers and everything at a future meeting.
Questions, concerns?
So with the donations that they've had kind of step up, does that include the parking lot, the range and everything? Or is it just more the targets and that site work?
Different people have said different things, so that we kind of want to put that all together before we bring it back.
Okay.
It's going to be, at this point, it's just going to be a gravel lot and a
Okay.
grass area. So I think once it initially gets the grading in and the gravel in there, then there's not going to be a great deal of maintenance for that.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve moving forward with the archery range? Scott will make a motion. I will second it. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Planning Commission appointment.
So the Planning Commission has been operating with 4 members, and we advertised for a 5th member, which we have now found. Chris Klinkhammer has submitted an application to fill that position. So that is what is in front of you tonight, is to approve the appointment of Christopher Klinkhammer to the Planning Commission, effective March 19th, and it expires on December 31st of 2028.
Okay. Got any questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve the appointment of Chris Klinkhammer.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, seconded by
Second.
Brad. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7J, approve resolution 2026-21, accepting quote for fire hall painting.
So the 2026 budget for the fire department includes funds for painting the interior block walls. 2 quotes were received. We got Lakeside painting of Alec for $14,500 and Colorful Concepts in Sartell for $19,400. The department's requesting the city approve the project and accept the Lakeside painting quote, which is resolution 2026-21.
Questions, concerns?
Was that sent to local painting
Is it
owners? Was that sent to local painting business owners?
I can't say who he all sent it to because the department handled that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was advertised or something like that, so if they didn't answer that or look for it, it's the proper way to do it, but
Was it advertised?
I don't know.
Was it advertised, guys? Do you know?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not on that committee, so I can't
Okay.
speak to,
I mean,
speak to what they did there.
They're not gonna go out and just talk to these businesses, I can guarantee you that,
Right.
because it's,
Right, so I'm assuming somewhere along the line it got advertised,
Yeah, the
otherwise
information went out.
they
so
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
This is the first time it's ever been painted since it's built, right? Yeah.
I guess I just asked because I'm not familiar with previous bids to go for big painting jobs, so just want to make sure we're giving options to locals as well.
Yep. Okay,
one thing in the resolution, that lakeside painting, not printing, with or the
Printing?
resolution.
Oh.
Just so that it's right when the resolution's signed.
It says,
So
paint-
whereas it
oh, it has
appears-
printing in
down
one spot,
where-
I see ya.
on the whereas, okay, I was gonna say, where are you seeing
Oh,
that?
sure.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-21?
so moved.
Motion by Brad, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Last minute discussion. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions.
Aye.
Motion carries 3 in favor, none against, 2 abstentions. Unfinished business, Trunk Highway 71 update.
So I have a little bit of information. I don't know if Keith has anything to add, but we continue to move forward on Trunk Highway 71. We're in touch with MnDOT weekly on cost participation updates. And also, MnDOT has a new local participation guideline, so we're signed up to be on that webinar so we can keep track and make sure we're only being charged what we should be. The design team, the design team meets once per week, which gives the city an opportunity to continue to provide input on the underground utilities and layout and to flesh out inconsistencies. Both Keith Yap and myself are on that. This is kind of where we came up with the deal about the bump outs and being drive over that we talked about earlier. The advisory group meets monthly regarding the overall design, and I believe our next meeting is going to be the 14th, but I haven't sent out that yet. There's 11 local business owners, staff, councilpersons and stuff on that, and we have yet to be talking about the streetlights and those types of things. The Section 106 review starts next month, which is the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation. So the city also has a seat at that table on that Section 106 review. And the sales tax bill has been jacketed and is be signed a number. It'll go to the tax committee, which will meet in April. So kind of have quite a few things going on our end regarding that. I did also today received an email back from Terry. She said that one of you had talked to her about similar cities, roundabouts, traffic counts. And so she gave me information on Pelican Rapids, it would be Sauk Center, Hastings, and Owatonna, I believe, with average daily counts versus the percent of trucks. And then also a peak, a Memorial Day peak, I think it was. So I'll be putting that stuff together for you. I just didn't have it ready for tonight's meeting. I don't know if Keith has anything additional to add.
Okay,
Just an update, we finally got the final layout from MnDOT for the 71 corridor. So we're putting that into our drawings, and we will be laying out and adjusting where we currently have sewer and water, at least preliminary where we have it, to make it fit where we would like it to be in the corridor. And then we'll be meeting with MnDOT, their design staff, as well as their maintenance staff, to figure out if this is going to work for them, if they have any concerns with it, so that we can finalize where those are going to be within their corridor, because they have total say as to where that's going to be. So we hope they'll go with kind of what we believe, and we've talked generally about it, and they haven't had too many concerns, but the biggest things would be such as how close the sanitary sewer is to the right-of-way, in case do they need to have extra temporary easements in order to install things, those kinds of things. That's kind of what we're concerned about. So hopefully we'll get all that and have a meeting with them in the next 2 weeks and get that kind of laid out, and then that's sort of finalized and ready to move forward.
okay. Any questions, concerns over
So
that?
any public feedback regarding the design has not been affected the final?
The design that he's talking about has to do with underneath the ground.
Nothing on top?
That's everything
Right.
below ground.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the surface stuff is still in kind of a flux yet.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. We'll move on to new business. Determination on community garden.
That was something that the park board was talking about. They discussed it tonight. You know, the city, we provided the land, the wood chips, the water, the labor, some labor for like hauling the chips and that type of thing. And we had received some concerns from citizens that it was unkept and whether we should continue to have it. And so the park board tonight did recommend that we will get back in touch with them and say, okay, we'll do it again this year, but we want to have it maintained a little neat. I mean, when we are sending people tall grass and weed notices, when on our own property we have tall grass and weeds, it just doesn't look good. And so we're gonna talk to them about that, and they'll have this year, and we'll just see how it goes after that. So I'm not requesting anything, it's just information at this point.
Okay, comments?
Is there a committee that actually is in charge of the community garden, or whose
It kind of
role
rotates.
is it?
It kind of rotates. It started, they usually had like a person that was like a master gardener, but they've kind of rotated through. The one person that's been kind of consistent is Mark Kranz.
Yep,
So he's
okay.
kind of the one that I went to talk to them about this.
Okay.
So it's like one go-to person, and they have a new person from Spring Hill, I believe he said, that is very interested in coming up and working, kind of taking charge of it this year. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we'll move on to our consent agenda. We only have one item on there, and that's our February checks, paid claims / payroll of $505,224.40. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. We have no informational items. I can't believe charter's not on there. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Brad, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.